Good morning, everyone, and welcome to River City Plus. It's the show after the show where we get to take a deep dive into some of the wonderful things that our community members are doing. This morning, I'm so blessed to welcome Miss Terry to River City Plus, and we've been chatting for a while so that we could connect. I'm really happy to have you in the studio today. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, and I'm happy to be
Yeah,
here.
and if you want to talk into the mic just so
You're
everybody,
welcome, and I'm
yes,
happy to be here.
we don't want to miss anything you have to say this morning because I know it's all going to be so important.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, Miss Terry, we connected because tragically your family suffered a loss, the life of your son. And you were taking that loss and that tragedy and you were actually giving back to the community now with a forum that you were putting together. So, first of all, we just want to send our condolences from River City Live to you, but also just give you the space to tell your story and to share what you're doing as a grief counselor and what you're doing to take control of this situation and this tragedy and actually create a safe space for grieving for other mothers and families.
Okay, I appreciate that. Well, I first want to say this is not a sad event, and I do want to give people the space to express whatever emotion it is they have, because people we suffer all types of losses, not just deaths, and that's one of the things that I will be going over when we have the forum, which is on May the 11th. And it's something that I had been wanting to do for a while, but I guess now is the time. And it says that it's for mothers and their support systems, which can be male, female, or whoever. But this is going to be that time where we start the initiation of also his foundation. Vincent was a person that loved family. Regardless to whatever else, I know that he loved his family. He does have a daughter and also a sister. So I'm very excited about it, to be able to be available to people. I've always done grief counseling. Even this week I'm doing it. But I am very excited to be able to bring this to the community so that they can be educated and have the opportunity to speak about things that they may not otherwise even mention.
Yeah. It's so challenging when we are processing grief. Like you said, it's not always death, but whatever tragedy befalls you, maybe you lose your job suddenly, you lose a family member, something that disrupts the typical spin of our world. When you are coaching people to be open about grieving, I think especially it's tough to be open to people, be open with your emotions. What is that first step that you encourage people to take to just hold that space, to be and allow yourself to grieve?
Well, I first make them feel welcome and acknowledge them and let them know that it is valid, and try to explain the process of what grief actually might feel like and what it might look like, because it's not always just one emotion. Sometimes you're up and down. And so I do encourage them to be honest with themselves and let them know that it is a safe space for them. And also, because a lot of people are told, don't talk about it. They don't, right. Nobody wants to hear about it. And sometimes that's how they feel. And so they end up holding it in, and something else happens, and it just keeps piling on and on and on. And so this is just a way to educate them and to give them the opportunity to educate. To be educated and to connect with others, because you may learn something from another person who experienced something totally different, but it was a loss for them.
And you also mentioned the support system, because there are two sides to that coin. It's the person who experienced the grief directly, and then those of us who are beside that person who's experiencing the grief. What do you say to support systems that want to be there, that want to be helpful, but sometimes we just don't know what to say? We don't know what to do for those we love.
I like to encourage people to ask people, is there anything I can do for you? Because a lot of times what we may want to do may not be what they need us to do. And a lot of times it's just being present and listening, just being present. Sometimes just being in the company of somebody else helps to that person to get through a day.
I love that you're really opening up the space for everyone to just ask questions. When you are going through grief counseling, what are the typical steps? I know this forum is really the first step into full healing, because it's not something you can fix, but it is something you can learn to cope with, learn to
Right.
recognize. And it's really finding that in yourself, how you need to continue to function. But I want people to understand that this is something you do year round. This forum is really just a kickoff for help, acceptance, and like you said, holding that space.
Right. And I just encourage them, first of all, to recognize what grief may look like, because typically they say it's 5 stages, but it may not be 5 stages. You may not experience everything. And some people cry a lot, some people don't. But whatever emotion you have, and I encourage them to be honest. It's nothing to be ashamed about.
That's the tough part, though, is being honest with
Right.
yourself that you're hurting.
Right. And also make sure when you're sharing, it's with someone that can be trusted. And sometimes preferably trained. Because like you said, when the other people that are around you, they may not be feeling the same way that you feel. And it may be rather intense for them the way you're feeling. So it is good to have someone that is trained that can talk to you and can listen to you, and vice versa.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, you're a trained grief counselor. Now, how did you step into this line of work? Because you have to have a strong heart. I don't know how you do it. I think that's a gift that you have, that you're able to help people process things like loss, like hardship. So how do you get to work every day feeling led to do what you do?
Well, I started years ago, and I actually started studying substance abuse. And that led to me going to school to be a mental health counselor. And it also, a lot of people told me their stories before I even went to college. I didn't even ask them. They didn't even know me.
You're one of those people that just attracts the
Yes,
conversation.
and they would tell me their information, and I would always try to encourage them and offer them a word of direction and everything, and sometimes, to be honest, even pray with them. So it just was kind of natural for me. You know, at one time I thought I was going into public health, and I still had to redirect because it just wasn't what I felt I was called to do.
Do you feel like you're stepping into your calling now, especially in honor of your son, Vincent?
I feel like I'm in another phase. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm turning another corner. I'm normally behind the scenes, and I feel like I'm coming out.
And I threw you right in front of the scenes today. So thank you for being willing to chat with me, though.
You're welcome. But I'm normally behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't see what I do. They see the result of what I do because people's lives are changed. But I'm feeling like I need to come out and step out more. And, you know, people, whenever I do it, they approach me and tell me, you know, that it's good and I need to continue the work.
What would you say to someone who also feels a calling, also feels led to do something? Maybe they're like you and they have a gift that they feel compelled to share, but that's challenging to step out, open yourself up to other people's commentary, open yourself up to discourse that randomly gets directed at you. What words of encouragement would you offer somebody who feels like they need to step into their next phase, especially if it's in a phase of advocacy?
I really believe we need to connect with people. I believe in mentoring. I've done that also, and I still do it sometimes. But I believe in mentoring and connect to people who are doing what you want to do. There are also some people that are very effective that are on social media. So connect with people who are doing what you want to do and let them lead and guide you. And always, of course, pray about it and get the training that you need.
Yeah. Training is so important. I want to shout out your daughter who helped us put together this
Yes.
conversation. And I think it's a wonderful example of two different brands, two different entrepreneurs coming together for a wonderful cause. Obviously, this has a tinge of heartbreak, but the fact that you're both taking the step to make it a positive experience and also an educational experience for other people who might be hurting. So tell me about your daughter and the businesses that you both have separately, but that are coming together to create this event.
Well, she is Kristen. She did contact you. And
Hi, Kristen. We love you. We both do. You did a great job.
She opened the way for me to be here. And initially, we thought she was coming too, but she honestly felt like I should be the one sitting here talking to you. Of course, she will be at the event, but she wanted me to be the one to. She said, "This is your moment to shine." She said, "I need to talk to you. I want to change my major," and I said, "To what?" and can I call you back? I'm on the phone. She said, no, I need to talk to you right now.
Right now, Mom.
And when I talked to her, she actually said, I want to know why people do what they do. And I said, well, I'm not quite sure you'd ever figure that out.
Right.
But I redirected her, and I told her if she got psychology, she would have to go ahead and get that master's. And she did it.
Mm-hmm.
She did
Fantastic.
it. And I'm very proud of her because a little over a year ago, she opened up her practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I love seeing the two parallels between you. And I just want to thank you for sharing the stage with me today, sharing the studio. I think it was your time to shine. I know you wanted to have a couple different people come in with you. And I think the seat was meant for you today. This mic was meant for you today. So again, thank you for doing what you're doing, for extending this invitation to the community and holding that space for people who need you.
Yes, ma'am. I really appreciate you for having me on.
Yes, thank you. So everybody, do not miss this event. Ryan, can we pop up the flyer just one more time in case anybody wants to take a screenshot while we are here? So this is going to be happening with Miss Terry Samuels. She is going to be there for you. Here's all the information needed. It's on the 11th. And Miss Terry, do they need to RSVP on Eventbrite? Is that the best thing to do?
The best thing to do is to get on to on Eventbrite. If you don't have the link that directly leads to the ticket, just put in the forum and it will pop up. And or you can even probably put in grief and it might come up.
Yeah, I'll make sure that everybody has the link after the show today on rivercitylivetv.com. Miss Samuels, thank you so much. And thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll make sure that you all are connected, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning on River City Live. Take care.